better. Okay, area of parallelograms. So like I said, we're going to start with a rectangle. That looks like this. 4 right angles makes a rectangle, right? What is the formula for the area of a rectangle? That's a triangle, right? Triangle is 1/2 base times height. A rectangle is base times height. Okay, so if this is my base, this is my height, you just multiply those two together to get the area of a rectangle. Well, a parallelogram, like I just showed you in the thing, if we take a triangle, cut this off and put it over here, now my parallelogram is going to look like this. Right? This is still the same length, my base. The height is still this right here. The height still has to be perpendicular. We just moved that triangle over to the other side. So your formula is still the same, the base times the height. But where you have to be careful is you're not using two sides of the figure as your base and your height, right? This right here, that is not my height. Don't use that as your height. It's got to be perpendicular to the base. If this is my base, then it would be b times h, okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to find the area of a few different parallelograms, and then we're going to find the height of a parallelogram. And that one takes a little extra thought, but we'll get it. All right, so let's say our first one looks like this. You have a parallelogram. And you are given that this side is 4.5, this side is 5, and this will be inches, and this side is 4 inches. Okay, so let's say I give you this figure and I say find the area. What are you doing? Which are what? No. Because your height has to be perpendicular to the base. Which one's perpendicular?
4.
Right, the 4 is the height. Okay, so this is h. And then this one is the one it's perpendicular to, so that's going to be our b. Okay, so your area here is going to be 5 times 4. So you have an area of 20 square inches. Remember, area, you always do square inches. So make sure you're labeling those correctly. Okay. Questions on that so far?
Why is it 20 inches squared?
Square inches because you're multiplying inches by inches, right? Inches times inches is inches squared. Perimeter, you're just adding it all up. So then you just leave it as inches. Area, because you're multiplying, you get square inches. All right, how about this one? Same idea, different parallelogram. Okay, so you're looking for the two that are perpendicular. Which are those? Which one's the base, which one's the height?
The base is 3, or the height is 3.5.
The height is 3.5, and what is that perpendicular to?
2, 7.
To the 2, right? So if we're going to plug this in for area, it's going to be area equals a base of 2 times a height of 3.5. So your area is 7, and then it's square centimeters. Does that make sense? So make sure you're finding the two that are perpendicular. Do we need another? Or are you good? Because the next one I do is a little different. Good on those? Yeah? Okay. All right, so second type of example. And this one's a little more challenging, so pay attention here. I will talk you through it as best I can. Excuse me. Goodness. Okay, I want you to find the length of CE. And you will be given that this is 13 inches, this is 12 inches, this is 10 inches, and that's everything they give you. We're looking for CE. So we're looking for this length. Okay, we know the area formula is base times height. Take a look at that for a second. Do you see anything you could do to figure out what X is? 12 times 10 is a good place to start. So we know the area of this parallelogram, okay? The area is going to be 12 times 10. So that means the area of the parallelogram is 120 square inches. Okay, so we know the area, but they don't want area. They want a length. So if you look at this, does anyone see how you would do it for your next step?
13
Times what? Not times 10. Okay, so here's the deal. We know the area, okay? The area of this figure is going to be 120 regardless, right? Well, we have, if we, I can't flip it for you, but if you just flipped it, you could use this 13 as your base. What would your height be for that 13? What's perpendicular to that? It's your X, right? So if I take 13 times X, that should equal the area of the parallelogram. Do you know the area of the parallelogram? We do, right? It's 120. So you have to find the area using the non-variable stuff and then plug in the area with what you know for the other sides. So if it's area equals base times height, it's 120 equals 13 times X. How do you solve for X? Divide. So if I do 120 divided by 13, this cancels. X will be, we're going to do nearest tenth, so approximately 9.2 centimeters. And it's not square centimeters because it's not an area, right? It's just the length of that side. So that's what you would get. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to do one more of those because I feel like those are hard. It's helpful to see it again. Let's see. Oops. So let's say this is 12. This is 7. This is, sorry, I shouldn't write that crooked. That's 9. Okay, so if I want to know this segment, okay, we'll call this AB. I want to know how long AB is. Where do you start? Can you find the area of this parallelogram right now? It's 12 times 7. Good. Okay, so base times your height would be 7. So your area is 12 times 7, or 84 square units. Okay, that's our area. So then if AB is what we're looking for, that's going to be our height. What's the base that goes with that height? The 9. So base and height would be 9 times h, and that area has to equal what? 84. So you're going to set it up like that, divide by 9. 84 divided by 9 comes out to 9 1/3, or 9.3 repeating. So your height is 9.3, or 9 1/3 units, you could say, if you like it better this way. So you could do either one of those, 9 1/3 units or 9.3 units if you round it. And that is it. Questions on that? We good?